Good evening, all, and welcome to the problem of being awake. I'm Ben, I'll be your host. You can call me the King of Armchairs or the Thomas Edison of the armchair. Either's appropriate. I prefer the latter, so either is appropriate. Now, what I want to talk about is cancellation, cancel culture, and the fact that I've just been, I think, cancelled by YouTube. Now, that was set a precedent for YouTube, as they claimed to be the only free-thinking, flowing voice where they would never censor anyone. The reason I got censored was because one of the pictures you see, and they're called thumbnails, one had the word kill in it. And to put it into context, it said, "Junior doctors, I thought your job was to save lives, not kill them." Because we had a huge strike in this country, and many people died so they could get a pay rise. So I've reworded it, put it back for promotion. I was not expecting the response which will be in the previous video, that all of my promotions, some of which were doing extremely well and engaging with people on a level that I hadn't been able to attach, I've actually had responses from one of them, which has now been shut down, where although I am an uninsured ex-clinical psychotherapist, because of the terminal brain problems I have, I haven't lost my faculties. I've made that clear to this person, but I gave him my personal email address. So, am I bad? Good? Okay? Acceptable? I don't know. I'm waiting to find out. Because this could be potentially, I've been on here 3 months. I've made a lot of videos. They're all contextual in content, or most of them are, because I only believe in contesting a mob culture, not any individual, and I've made that plainly clear. And if you are in the transgender mob group and you do suffer from gender dysphoria, best thing you could do for your life would be to leave the mob group and deal with the problem that you feel is your problem on your own or with professional help. And by that I mean guidance from a decent therapist. If necessary. I'm not I have worked with people who suffered with gender dysphoria when it was a mental health disorder, but the WHO declassified it as a mental health disorder in 2020. I think we can all agree that madness has ensued since then. So initially I supported the declassification, but I would reclassify it as a mental health disorder, gender dysphoria, because what that would stop is all of the uncommittal people who decide to name themselves and think that's acceptable. Nicola Sturgeon, thank God, I never liked the woman. She did have guts, I have to admit that. Picked a rapist as her first trial of somebody who identifies as another sex, and put that rapist into a female prison. Now, a rapist in a male prison is considered as just one notch above a paedophile. Paedophile, rapist, crime lords, drug dealers, right up here. So any rapist would have had a very difficult time in a male prison. But any rapist who decides they feel like a girl would have a very easy way of controlling and manipulating and abusing women. So thank God she got sacked. Thank God that was the first decision she made, because if she'd made 300 previous ones, she wouldn't have been as easy to sack. So some people, yeah, their actions should dictate whether the world finds them acceptable or not. There then should be some kind of middle tribunal as to review those actions and see why they were made. And then the final tribunal would be to discuss whether this person is allowed to speak. And that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're right there on the cusp of it. Whether you have the freedom to speak. And if there is any condition ever put on the freedom to speak, you can guarantee that a totalitarian government will be running the country in exactly the way that George Orwell predicted, although far worse, because of the technological advancements he couldn't have imagined. And we're all screwed. That's the prediction, really. If we lose freedom of speech, freedom of choice, and freedom of thought, then it will not be very long before a tyrannical and complete oppressive government is what we're looking at. Now, there may be a government of people who vote on feelings rather than facts, but in reality, as in every movement, there are people who have a different agenda. And the best example for that is the Russian Revolution, where over 50% of the soldiers were shot within 2 weeks because they believed in communism. So if you're going to start a war based on communism and then shoot the ones who really believed in it in order to secure power and start your own regime of terror, that was 50 years from Karl Marx's writings being published to Joseph Stalin, literally committing genocidal death to the tune of 65 million. 50 years that took. So I'm going to put the same thing. It'll take the same amount of time, and it'll happen here and in Europe. I actually predict there will be 4 or 5 super countries that encompass all the others completely. But that's Orwellian thinking. That's to be seen. But there's too much going on to ignore, and please do not ignore it. Become part of it. Subscribe and share if you like, and if you don't worry. Anyway, I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you soon.